I popped out at the Atlas Theater here in DC for a book signing with the Amanda Montell. She is a New York Times bestselling author and writer of Cultish-The Language of Fanaticism, WordSlut, A Feminist Guide to Taking Back the English Language, and her third installment, The Age of Magical Overthinking, Notes on Modern Irrationality. The event was hosted by Solid State Books, a full-service Black-owned bookstore here in DC. Amanda has been published in the New York Times, Esquire, Harper's Bazaar, and she was featured in Netflix hit docuseries How to Become a Cult Leader. And y'all know I love anything cult related, so I was all up into that docuseries, and I'm all into her podcast, Sounds Like a Cult, literally one of my faves. But this was a sold out event, and as you can see, the guests started to come in. They all received a autographed book from Amanda. Everyone was so excited. The energy was amazing. Amanda is known for her thought-provoking yet relatable writing style, and in her new book, The Age of Magical Overthinking, she explores the advantages and disadvantages of magical overthinking, combining cultural criticism and her personal narrative to explore cognitive bias. She was joined on stage by Washington Post writer Alexandra Petri. Let's get into it.
Like, it is so easy to romanticize the far-gone past. And that's actually a coping mechanism. And I've been thinking about this a lot. One of the concepts that truly lives rent-free in my head from this book is from the chapter that I wrote last, which is one called nostalgia porn. And the cognitive bias that pairs with nostalgia is called declinism, which is our natural inclination that life is only getting irreversibly worse and worse and worse, and it's all downhill from here. The human mind is really odd about time. We tend to romanticize the past, over-dramatize the present, and like dismiss the future. So there's really fascinating research suggesting that we actually conceive of our future selves as strangers, which explains why we put off saving for retirement or like not eating well or not doing our homework, because our future selves that would benefit from those activities is like some random relationship. Literally, who is she? But when the present feels painful, like it doesn't feel comforting to dream of the future, even though that's where we're actually going, because the future is unknown, it's unpredictable. We don't have any like sweet relics from that time, but we do have shaky woven baskets in the Smithsonian that we can like create mythologies surrounding from the distant past. And so I don't know if there are any like cottage core girlies out there. When the present feels painful, and the present felt really painful during the pandemic, it felt like more chaotic than ever. We thought that the world was ending, and for many it did. I felt myself sort of like sinking into a warm bath of idealizations of like this Laura Ingalls Wilder 1800s core vibe that like wasn't ever a thing like in the past, but it felt comforting to imagine that past did exist and that I could tap into that, because it made the future somehow feel more manageable. It was like an act of romantic imagination, and that's a good thing. But I do find that we are very quick in our culture now, and for so many justifiable reasons, to think that like we are living through the worst period ever, and like that the hunter-gatherer period was actually like lovely, and that everybody was just like picking berries.
Yeah, I would have got all the berries.
Yeah, like so many berries and like no capitalism, but literally, like, for sure, yeah, no capitalism, yeah, totally. But like with a wink, because truly, like people were falling off cliffs and getting eaten by saber-toothed tigers, and it was not a vibe. Yeah, but it's so important, to understand the role of nostalgia in our lives and not allow populist leaders or even like trad lives on TikTok to weaponize our desire to want to fantasize about the past during present pain. Because I was thinking about if there's a way to harness what's good about nostalgia and apply it to what's happening right now. And there's a beautiful book that I referenced in that chapter called The Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows by John Koenig. And he coined a term for nostalgia for a past you've never known. The term is anemoia. And I sort of like took a page out of his book, and I was like, I want to coin a term for nostalgia for right now. Like this sort of plaintive longing for the moment that you're in. It's still, but like by the time you feel it, like it's already gone. The word is tempezer, which is like a combination of the Latin words for time and whisper, because nostalgia feels like melancholy and quiet and beautiful. It feels like a whisper in a way. It's like the past whispering maybe like some lore into your ear. And so I loved the idea of sort of like taking what we know about nostalgia, and scholars like Routledge is this one psychologist who I referenced in an op-ed the other week for the LA Times about nostalgia and creating nostalgia for the present. He explained to me that the types of memories that we tend to be the most nostalgic for are deeply social, relational. Sometimes they're not even wholly positive. It might be something painful or challenging, like going to visit a sick loved one, or going to a party that makes you feel really socially anxious, but in the end you're glad you went, or like reconciling with someone from your past. You know, they could be stressful or like mixed emotions. I've never been, I have been very nostalgic for the present of these events, like, because these events do feel deeply social. They really do, but like, when I thought about it, I was like, this is gonna influence how I spend my time, because I've never been nostalgic for like, oh, really good Instagram reels I posted. You know what I mean? Like, I spend so much time, you know, on achievements, and sort of like blitzing past my appreciation for these memories that I know I'll end up being nostalgic for later. And like, I am so interested in memory and how humans can like distort time and distort memories. And so, yeah, I'm really interested in trying to cultivate nostalgia for the present and orient my life toward those types of memories, because when I look back, I want to feel like my life was really full. I think we all do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Although, as Sondheim said, if life were made of moments, then you'd never know you had one.
Yeah.
So don't do too much. Don't do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So the entire life
That's
is
so
totally
true.
worth living. Otherwise, it'll just be like, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
Do a bad job
Shit.
of living, also. Counterpoint, don't listen to Amanda.
Yeah. No, that is, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because this book is all about juxtapositions. And like, I do want to communicate that. Like, this is not fucking like self-help, you know what I mean? Like, there are nuggets of serviceable wisdom in here that have been derived from empirical studies, and I have found them useful. But this book is all about inviting us all to like live in that dizzying swing that I kind of mentioned in that opening chapter of like, we are not perfectly rational. We will always live in that swing of like truth and beauty and logic and mysticism. You know, it's like who we are, and being able to tolerate that middle ground is the only way I think we'll get through.
Amanda explores all of this and more in her book, I Have Been Glued to the Pages. It is such a phenomenal read. It's always an honor to work with those that you actually really admire and enjoy. This is her enjoying her time with her fans, doing meet and greets. She's such a gem. Please follow her and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more events, because y'all know Media Moni will be on the scene.